my name is Paul Grogan and welcome to episode 11 of the Gaming Rules Podblast. In this episode I'm going to be talking to Emma May from Emmerse Studios about a game that she's designed, Quirk, and self-published, and what she's up to at UK Games Expo, and a little bit about Team Trevor. As always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters who help make content like this possible. If you are interested in supporting me, then you can head on over to patreon.com/gaming rules. But for now, let's get on with the show. So welcome to the show, Emma.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm alright, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's a sunny Friday morning down in Devon.
Well, it was sunny yesterday, it's not this morning.
And here we are, just for the American listeners, it's two English people talking about the weather.
Good job, it's not about tea.
Welcome to the show. Emma, you are the designer of Quirk and the CEO of Emmerse Studios.
And creative director.
Creative director?
Yeah.
As well as CEO?
Yeah, I like both titles, and the reason is because I manage the business, but I also do everything else in the business creatively.
Right. Well, I do that too with Gaming Rules. I do everything, but I don't know what to call myself sometimes. I mean, I can tell you what other people call me, but it's probably not repeatable on a podcast. Anyway, so before we start talking about the game stuff, I normally like my listeners just to find a little bit more about you as a person. So tell us a little bit about Emma.
Okay, so I grew up in Southampton. I'm in my late 20s. I'm actually turning 30 this year, and it's all chaotic because obviously life crises and stuff. Other than that, I have a dog. I used to have two dogs, a border collie and a shih tzu. I've only got a shih tzu now, so you'll probably see a lot of pictures of him on Twitter if I ever post them, because everyone wanted a Twitter account for Dexter, but I refuse. I refuse to put a Twitter account together for a dog, because I don't have time to manage two Twitter accounts and a dog's profile. And yeah, so I'm very creative. When I was 5 years old, I started drawing. Within the first year of being 5, I got picked up by like our local shop when we did like the colouring in competitions.
Okay.
And also I sent a birthday card to the Queen, and that got put in the paper. And then, you know, before I turned 6, my drawings at school got put onto like a wall art display, and it had like inspired by Emma May. So like I started really young with my talents, and just carried on with that for so long. But what I realised is that I couldn't make a career out of being an artist, because you literally have to die to become famous.
Yeah.
So that wasn't an option. So I ended up going into 3D modelling animation, because at the time Shrek was really popular. Of course, there's like Toy Story that came out. Mm-hmm. And I was just fascinated by how they created 3D art, and knowing that there's a career that way. So I've got a degree in 3D modelling animation.
Okay.
Worked in the tech industry doing product design, ended up doing product development. So then that's when I ended up starting a company and doing my own thing, because I know I can create professional products that actually sell in the market. And starting Emmerse Studios is about what I can do as a product designer and put my own work out there. And be creative at the same time. So taking a project that I know how to do, or like something that I'm passionate about, and seeing how far I can take it.
But you're also the designer of Quirk as well.
Yes.
So which came first? Did you design the game and then leave your previous career and start Emmerse Studios, or the other way around?
To be honest, I only had a full-time job for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
I ended up leaving university, becoming a freelance artist, failing miserably. But in that time, I created a book and a card game, not Quirk. It was Cards with Character.
Right.
And then I did a Kickstarter campaign. Didn't understand how Kickstarter worked when I was 23, and then decided I'd buy 50 of them. I think we must have sold over 50 on Kickstarter. I might have brought 100.
Okay.
But then I ended up selling them all. And then that was it. I was like, well, this doesn't go anywhere. And it wasn't a fully finished product, and it wasn't something I wanted to put my name to. Right. So when I left the tech industry, I actually started a different business, which I then pivoted from and started Emmerse Studios. And it was in the first business where I was showing people my products that they were saying, bring this out at Christmas, we would buy it. So kind of like the year before, that was kind of my testament to I should really be making a product that people are going to buy.
Right. And then Quirk, the idea for that?
Came from Cards of Character.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was 2017 is the publish date for the game?
October 2017. So I made it in January 2017 and I spent 10 months developing it.
So Emmerse Studios, Quirk, 2017. Was Quirk, did it go on Kickstarter or did you just go straight for publication?
Went on Kickstarter, failed its first campaign because I did it in February that year.
Right.
And I, again, not really knowing much about Kickstarter, and my only previous ideas of Kickstarter were when I was 23. Yeah. And I launched that when I was 27.
Okay.
And then... Yeah, I then went into 5 to 6 months worth of product testing with different board game groups. And then I went for Kickstarter campaign again for £750 and made 1,500.
So you can put a big banner at the top to say funded at 200%, like they do.
That was it. Like everything I do in business is like, what can I leverage from that little bit of success that I had?
Yeah.
And then make it a bit better so that the next time I make a game, we can say, well, our last project did 200%.
Yep. But that was then. And where are we now? Where is Emmerse Studios now? Because I saw that image that you posted to Twitter last week.
Yep.
Which looked very impressive.
The UK Games Expo picture?
No, the one where Quirk is now available in all of these retail outlets all around the country.
Yeah, we are in 89 shops across the country, including Waterstones, Welsh Heritage, Toy Masters, independent Toy Masters, and a load of indie shops, as well as a shop in Amsterdam, France, and Malta.
So what happened in between? We've had the £1,500 Kickstarter in 2017, and all of a sudden you're now everywhere across the country.
I know, I leverage so much. I think what I do is I've got a massive goal anyway. My goal has always been to do something huge and say, it doesn't matter that it's Quirk, it's I'm going to make a game, can I get it into Waterstones?
Right.
And that was a massive goal for me to do, and within, I think it was about a year, just over a year of being on the market that we got into Waterstones. But it was about, like, you can't go from I'm a brand new designer to I'm straight into the shops. You have to take that journey of understanding how everything works before you're ready to take on something like a Waterstones.
Yeah, but you did it in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that's not that bad with your first official published game.
Indeed. I didn't 100% do it though, because obviously I'm now working with a distributor.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been able to, on my own, go out to 89 shops in a year.
No.
Unless I was cold calling thousands upon thousands of shops. But that's a very long and hard process if you don't have a sales team.
Yeah, no, if you've got a good distributor that's going to help, push the game for you into places, then that's great. So tell us a little bit about Quirk, just sum it up, elevator pitch.
Quirk is, you make sounds and actions to win cards from other players. You create sets called Quirks, and you can also steal those sets using tactic cards and defense cards. I'm actually in the process of changing some of the rules because I've just had a new playtest report done from a PR company. And I guess this is the thing, because I keep telling people, if you're going to make something, get all the bad news about it. I usually use a swear word there, like tell me it's really bad first of all, and then I can make changes to it before I even start this long process of trying to get into a shop, because there's so many things that shops look for that you don't even understand when you're designing something, because when you're designing it, you're thinking, oh, I really love this concept. It's amazing. Everyone else will love it. It's my style. It's, all of these things. And then you put it out there and people rip it to shreds. Yeah. And you get really disheartened by it. But my version of that, I do still get disheartened, but at the same time, like, it's good for the game. It needs to be...
It is.
It needs to be battered. So I can go, well, is that really fun for other people? Because I'm not the one playing it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's wrong for me to create a game that I absolutely love if everyone else hates it.
Yeah.
It's not going to go anywhere. So I said to this PR company, I was like, I wish I would have known about you 2 years ago, because I would have saved so much money and time, and I would have designed it properly.
Okay.
But the amount of I'm a product designer. I like the games to get bashed in that testing area before I make those hard decisions. And I guess I've had to learn kind of the long way to how to get this into like a commercial product, because there are two sides of the games industry where you've got the hobbyist side and the commercial side.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hobbyist gamers that don't want to sell their soul and their amazing ideas in that niche area to go into commercial, because there's this love-hate relationship for it. And I kind of started in the hobbyist world, got all the feedback from my players who absolutely loved the game, and then I've taken it to a commercial playtesting part where they've ripped it to shreds and said, actually in a commercial bubble, it works, but it needs some fine tweaking to that so that it kind of can flow into that side of the market.
Okay, so is this going to lead to a Quirk second edition?
Possibly. So one of the things I'm trying to think of, how can I do this without any money? Because I'm currently not doing any Kickstarter campaigns, and I'm fully funding the business through sales.
Yeah.
Which is survival mode, basically. And I've said to a lot of people on Twitter that I can't do so many shows at the moment because that costs me money to do, and at the moment I need to pay off bills to get this off the ground in its third year. So I'm now looking at the business as how is it making money, rather than first 2 years of talking to my audience a lot and being there, and now it's how do I sustain this?
Okay.
And that's a completely different journey.
But if this PR company has given you advice on where you can, change the game for an even wider audience, then potentially, that could go anywhere.
Yeah, it could. I don't have the funds to do that though, unless I were to do another Kickstarter campaign. But you know how stressful those are.
Yeah.
And as one person, and I'm taking on multiple projects.
Yeah.
It would be like my my October last year, where I was designing the game, I was going to Germany, and I was also starting to work on another project at the same time. And it was like, I didn't have time to breathe.
Yeah.
And I kind of don't want to put myself in that position, because it's not very healthy.
It's not
as
good.
You know.
as I know, 4 years on. So UK Games Expo, you're going to be at UK Games Expo with a booth.
Yeah.
Selling Quirk.
Yep, bigger booth than last year, but
Right.
It's only bigger by 1 metre.
Okay, well that's still bigger.
I've grown by a metre.
Now, in terms of, I'm just looking on Board Game Geek, we have Quirk 2017, and we have Quirk Legends 2018, and we have Quirk Hallows 2018.
Yep.
What are these then?
These are the sequels to Quirk.
Right.
So the other thing that I know, that if I'm going to create a game, I'm going to make something that is scalable. So this is my business side coming out quite a lot.
Okay.
And I think what Richard said at We're Not Wizards is that when I talk about my games, I don't talk like other designers. And sometimes I wish I did, because I just want to be so creative. But I'm thinking, I'm developing this game. What is the longevity of this game, and how expansive could that be, so that I can capitalise on it as much as possible. So it lends itself well to putting new characters in. And one of the things that came up early in game tests is the people that brought the early prototypes said, we've played it and played it and played it, now we want more characters.
Right.
And that happened really quickly, and I was like, oh, this is what my audience wants, I need to create another game. And so it wasn't even hitting the market, and by October it went on Amazon 2017, and we're in November 2017, I was creating all the artwork for Quirk Legends to launch in February 2018.
Right. So expansion sets for the base game.
Yeah, and also that it kind of lent itself to also expansion cards for the actual sets, which I only do limited campaigns for Kickstarter to give them that something extra, because we're at such a small game. I don't want to give everyone everything in the market. So it's nice that on Kickstarter I can, add an extra 9 cards or so that do something different to the functions in Quirk. So you've got a base game, and then you get things like the Mischief cards. I love the expansions because it gives you the extra flavour of what you don't get from Quirk.
And obviously the UK Games Expo has a strong family element in the exhibit hall. So that's going to be your target audience for this game, is families that are there, people who want something a bit fun.
Yes. So my biggest market is children,
Right.
but also adults as well. But you get the adults that are like, oh, I kind of like this game, but I don't want to make a fool of myself in front of other people I don't know.
Yeah.
But when they're at home and they've got maybe a glass of wine or something there.
I was going to say the alcohol element might change that a bit.
Yeah, and you tend to have families that the thing that I get told the most is, like on Amazon, we found your product and it says that children will love it, but also adults will love it. And we find it really hard to find a product that our children will love and we won't get bored of playing with over and over and over again, because the children always want to play this. And you're like, oh no, I just want to rest now. Don't want to play this.
So UK Games Expo, you will be demoing Quirk to people, selling your Quirk to people.
Yep.
Let's just go back pre-Quirk. Were you a gamer?
Yes.
Were you? Right. So what kind of games did you play before that?
So I've grown up in the digital side of games.
Yeah.
I did play board games. We had Scrabble and Monopoly. I know that's hated in the gaming world.
What about modern board games? The gaming hobby as it is now?
But this is the thing. So I kind of came into the industry as a nobody. And a lot of people are like, how did you get into it? Because you don't know anything about, the hobbyist game side of things. And my friends... Yeah,
that's what I was trying to ask in a nice way.
Yeah. My friends are like, have you heard of Carcassonne? I'm like, what's Carcassonne?
Right.
It's like, it's the most amazing game ever. So yeah, I've been introduced over the last 2 years to all of these games that I didn't know even existed in this market. Right.
So Quirk and Emmerse Studios came really before your introduction to the hobby games market, industry, or anything like that.
Yes, and I feel people are going to hate me for that.
No, I think it's fascinating because I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but a very, very high percentage of people who are in the industry were gamers who then wanted to then either go and design a game or go and publish a game or
yes.
whatever.
Yeah, I see a lot of that.
And I grew up, in the 80s playing all the old Avalon Hill games and everything. So I've been a gamer for, a long, long time. But as I say, so the first year you went to Games Expo, you were probably unaware of
everyone.
Everyone.
I didn't know anyone. Do you know the only person I knew at that show was Ian Livingstone, because we had a few emails back and forth, and then I was like, I need to go and meet you.
Cool.
So, and this is what people say, it's like, you don't know anything about the games industry, but you know Ian Livingstone.
I know, yeah. And I've been to, I've had the opportunity to go and speak to Ian Livingstone on a couple of occasions, and I've not managed to pluck up the courage to do so because Ian Livingstone is responsible for 90% of my life.
The whole games industry.
I started in 1982 with the Fighting Fantasy books.
Wow.
And effectively, that has led me to where I am now.
His books are amazing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've never read his books before. And I went over to him because we had these couple of emails back and forth. And I said, I'm Emma, you've been introduced to me through email. And here's a copy of my game, because this is what what we've been talking about. And he gave me a book and signed it for me. So that's the first time I've read his books. I think I played it in about 2 days. So for those people listening to this podcast, you can't see this, but I have my jealous face on right now. So just so you know, this is my jealous face. So there we go. I was talking about this to other people because I did a talk to some female entrepreneurs, and we were like talking about how you get into an industry. And I go on tangents, but something I was listening to the other day, I was only on a podcast or a video, and I was walking my dog, and I was listening to what this man says, and he's started multiple companies, and what he says is he knows nothing about the industry he goes into, because what happens is when you're in an industry and you know it so well, you get cornered into how the industry works. Yeah. And then you can't break out of what could be innovated in that space, or how can you work differently within that space because you know how it works so well that you can go, I can't do this, or I can't approach that person, I can't, because there's too many barriers to those etiquettes. Whereas when you're a little bit naive going into the industry and you know nothing about it, you're going to break so many rules.
Yep.
And I talk about this on Twitter, like, break the rules. But I say don't break the rules, bend the rules. But go out there and do the things that you feel you need to do and make mistakes, because those are the things that are going to push you further. So one of the things I said to this group of entrepreneurs is, I always tend to look at groups of people that, in networking groups or, within an industry, and go, who are the people who are doing big things in that industry and how can I get in contact with them? Because they are the people that know the most, and those are the people that can tell me where to steer clear of them, where I can actually leverage what I've got. I've had so many people that when I started in 2017 with Quirk tell me that it was a rubbish game, I wouldn't get anywhere, I shouldn't go to the UK Games Expo, I know nothing about it, do all my research first. And I show up, and within 2 years, I'm in Waterstones.
Yeah.
And it's like, now I've got those same people coming back to me going, oh, you're growing. Oh, can you consult for me on this? And it's like, I'm not stepping on your toes coming into this industry. What I'm doing is I'm building a business, and I'm looking at the way in which that business grows and how I can, I'm not thinking about games, I'm thinking about the product, and I'm thinking about how my users will feel with that product. And I'm thinking about how my commercial users, so shops, are feeling about that product, because at the end of the day, whatever I make needs to sell for me, and it needs to sell for my retailers, but also the people that get it need to enjoy it.
Yes.
This is about learning that journey from coming into it and going, I have no clue how this works. I got turned down so many times. I went to so many big designers and said, can you help me? And they were like, there's 3 ways to go into this industry. You do it yourself, which is the hardest method. You get a distributor, which is between the hard method and the easy method, or you license your game concept on and you develop loads and loads of concepts and keep selling those game concepts on. And I was like, well, I want to prove myself in the market, and I want to see how far I can go on my own first. It was a long decision before I got to there, because I did have a licensing deal. I turned it down. Right. And then the next year I had the same licensing deal, and they turned me down.
Okay.
So it's about, finding where you are on that journey. And I'm at this point now where I've done what I've needed to do. And I guess that's kind of why you haven't seen me so much online or talking about Quirk as much, because I'm not actually designing, I'm doing the boring stuff now.
Right.
And it's not, what can I say? Hey, I'm at the computer again, writing emails. Whee!
Yeah. See, I normally do that on a Sunday. Sunday is my day where I spend like 5 or 6 hours going through admin, paperwork, invoicing, and it's like, yeah, really, I shouldn't be doing this on a Sunday.
No.
Anyway, just moving on to the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and that is Team Trevor.
Yes.
What is Team Trevor?
A crazy bunch of people on Twitter.
Yeah, but there's a purpose.
Much. There is a purpose to it. And I know people do come to me about it. And the reason is because the name wasn't my idea. The name was from Janice at Ren Games.
Yep.
So you can thank her for that. But it was a conversation. It was like a moving conversation of all us designers who then came up with something really stupid, and now it's stuck. But the key point is, from mostly everything I've said to you in this podcast, is that I always want to help other people through some of this journey that I've been through, because I know how hard it is to do what I've done. And I see what you said at the beginning is so many people are already in this hobbyist games industry. They're playing all these games, they've grown up with them, that they go, oh, I can make a game as well.
Yeah.
And all they're thinking about is making that product. The product's the easiest thing to make. Whether it's successful or it fails, that's the test when it goes out into the market. And if you don't know how to market or sell anything, or if you don't know how to grow a business, then you might end up only selling X amount on Kickstarter, or failing at Kickstarter and then feeling like, oh, what's the point in doing this? Because you have to be very prepared for that. So I really want to help other designers, and it kind of the business that I started beforehand was a life coaching business. So I've always got this big need or want to help other people to become more successful or be their best self. And in product, because that's my most favourite thing, it's about helping people to overcome some of those hurdles that they're facing along the way. So we wanted to come up with a way on Twitter that we could help other designers if they had a problem with something or they needed to ask a question, that they could come to people that are actually in this industry, that talk to one another, that will be able to help you to overcome those barriers by any, advice that we can give. Because one thing that I absolutely hate is someone giving you advice that has not been in this industry or has no clue how products work.
Yeah.
But someone that's actually in it, you can give the advice because you know what works and what doesn't work.
But it's not just designers that you help as well. It's sort of indie publishers as well, or anybody with any kind of
any question within games and business as well, because I'm very into the business side of things and I'm very successful at it. Anything that you want to ask in creating a product, getting out to market, I tend to tackle those questions. But also I don't want it all to fall on me because I'm busy enough as it is, and if I spend all my time on Twitter, then I get no work done.
Exactly.
So there's trying to be this balance between helping people and having a community that can also reach out and answer those questions. So we came up with, we started talking to a load of people. We were all having the same questions, and we kind of formed this group. And it did get to a point where it got too big. And I just want it to be a hashtag where you can write the hashtag and then someone will pick that up within this community that can answer your question, or tag someone that's in the community so that your question can be answered. Yeah. But because Twitter is such an open thing, it doesn't really work so well. I just hope that if you do, you can get in contact with somebody that will help you.
Yeah. But the idea is there, the concept is good, and I think I'm in a similar position to you, is I've spent my entire life, I've been teaching people games since the mid-80s. I like imparting information, and I like helping people, and, I've been in the industry quite a while, I've been aware of, things, and I've been running my own business now for 4.5 years. So and people who want, what should I do about lighting, or what should I do about sound, or all of those sorts of things, I love somebody asking me a question and I'm able to help them or point them in the right direction. So if you've got that from a games publishing and design point of view, because people might come to you and say, I need to get, 100 sets of cards printed, where's the best place for me to do them? I wouldn't have a clue. I've never done that, whereas you've probably got that kind of experience and knowledge.
What I say is do your research on everything, because I used to work in a tech industry designing tech products, and I had to source the most incredible things, right down to the screw that went in and where that was coming from and how much that was, and the lead times on it, because if the lead times were wrong and you're putting together a tech product that has 80 different components to it, then and you got to source them from multiple locations, that product's not getting made on time if something takes 10 weeks to deliver and one thing takes a week. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But games companies are a little bit easier because you're going to go to one games manufacturer and they will have the ability to do everything for you. I don't use a games manufacturer, and one of the things is because I take into consideration the lead time. And one of the things I get praised on the most is the speed in which I deliver a product. So October, when I released Quirk Hallows, I think it was, I can't remember the dates exactly, but it was a 15-day campaign. I spent the week before designing the artwork and putting the whole game together. So we put the campaign together 15 days or so. It was 13 days. It was 14 days, but it said Friday, it was Friday the 13th. So launched on a Friday, and for 13 days it was running because it's a Halloween project. And then I turned the whole project around from designing it to people's doors in 8 weeks.
Wow. So where did you get it printed?
In the UK. So I know I've got a 2-week turnaround. Yeah. So a lot of people, when they do Kickstarter campaigns, they've got to make sure the money comes in because they've got 200 backers. But not all of that money comes through because card payments won't go through. And you start losing a lot of money, and this is the stuff you don't see when you're like, I'm gonna put a Kickstarter campaign together, and it's like, I've made like £20,000, and then it's like, no, you've made 15,000, and then you've got all of the fees that come off of it, and it's like not just the 5%, but it's also all the processing admin fees, and it turns out to be something like 15 to 20% that Kickstarter actually takes from you. And I've known so many people that are like, we made this much money on Kickstarter, we're going to buy a gaming table. They know who they are. And then they're like, we don't have enough money to buy a gaming table, and all the stuff that went wrong from the end of Kickstarter to delivering and they lost so much money, and you're like, I couldn't have even thought that was going to happen.
You can see this with some Kickstarter campaigns where they say, all right, we've raised this much money, the campaign was a success, and then all of a sudden, we don't actually have enough money to print the game. It's like, hang on a minute. And it's because obviously they didn't plan, they didn't cost it properly or anything else. No. But anyway, yeah, so Team Trevor is a group of people that can help out with all sorts of stuff and questions.
Yeah.
Hashtag Team Trevor, and there's loads of people in it now.
Yeah, I did say I'd go on a tangent. But this is the other thing I want to address is that we did have one person writing a comment on Twitter saying that they were kicked out of Team Trevor because they weren't being mentioned in posts and stuff. But it just got to a point where I can't remember everybody's name.
No.
And if you're not actively showing up on Twitter, then I'm not going to remember your Twitter handle to go, and so, because it's so hard. There's so many people now, and there's even new people coming in who like meet me at shows and stuff and then tag me in things. And I get people that I've never ever spoken to who obviously follow some of the content that are designing in the background, who then tag me in a post saying, look at my Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I will, but at some point I'm going to have to say, start a conversation with me first so I know who you are before you start sending me your stuff, because it's not fair on me to be looking at everybody's stuff and I don't know who you are and whether you're going to be successful or not, because I don't know what your drive is. So yeah.
Right.
That's everything.
So that's everything. We've run on a little bit longer than originally planned.
I did say I'd go on tangents.
You
I said
did.
That about 3 times now.
You did. It's all fine. But yes, thank you very much. Anything else you want to say before we wrap things up?
My stand at UKGE is 11091. If you want to come and see me.
11091.
I think what it is Hall 1, row
Aisle
10.
1. Row 10.
Row 10, 91 metres from the entrance.
Yes.
So you'll find me just past the family zone, past, I'm going to do some shout outs, past Imagination Gaming. I'm on the corner stand opposite Gibson's and K-Play, and I'm also in the very corner is always Estevium or Asmodee.
Asmodee now,
yeah, they're in the corner. So they're kind of opposite me as well. So you'll find me like on that. If you go to the very, I think it's the first row. You
Hall
walk down.
1, aisle 10, 91 metres from the entrance.
Yep.
I mean, it's a great numbering system they've got for Expo, because some other numbering systems at other conventions are a nightmare. So I like this one, but I have these visions of people walking about counting their paces as if they're following a treasure map. So you'll have people
going... They're going to a games expo!
And it's like, counting 91 metres from... Right, I'm at Holt. It's just, it's
But even
fun.
visually, when people are saying where they are on the map now, I'm like... I can see that without looking at a map, because I know where you are.
It is good. So, thank you very much for giving up your time. I will let you disappear.
Thank you for having me on.
I will see you in less than a week.
Yes. In the craziest... Well, I might not see you. It depends how busy we both are.
That's true, but...
You might just walk past me and wave, and then I might not see you, and then I might walk past you and wave, and you might not see me.
That's what we normally do, but hopefully you're going to be there on the Saturday night, so I'll definitely see you on the Saturday night.
Okay, I haven't got a plan, so I'm going to write that down. Saturday night.
8 o'clock, Saturday night, Gaming Rules live podcast with special guest, Team Trevor. And about 70 other people who I've somehow got to fit in within an hour. So I don't quite know how it's going to happen, but we'll make it happen.
Where is it, but do you want to release it on the podcast? Where are we?
It's at the Toot Suite, which is just outside of Hall 1.
Sweet.
So the plan is, exhibition hall closes on Saturday, grab a sandwich from Subway, chat to some people, and then live podcast at 8 o'clock.
Excellent, we'll be there.
That's the plan. But I might see you before then, but you never know. Right. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cool. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's everything. So I hope you found the discussion with Emma interesting. I certainly found it interesting because Emma came from a non-gaming background and then suddenly is at UK Games Expo with her own game and has managed to make it into Waterstones. And what she didn't mention is that she's also been on the bestsellers list, appeared in the Sun newspaper, and all sorts of other things as well. So been very successful with the game. And it was great to talk to her about that side of things. As mentioned at the start, thank you very much to all of my Patreon supporters for help making this Podblast possible. And if you are interested in supporting the show, then please head on over to patreon.com/gamingrules. Thank you as always to Gameslaw, the UK's largest specialist games retailer at gameslaw.com, and to Jason Shaw at audionautics.com for the music used in this podcast. Gaming Rules is a member of Punchboard Media, where we all bring something to the table, and a proud supporter of the Board Game Trading and Chat UK Facebook group. Until next time, take care, and thanks for listening.